What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Matt, a Pig and Matt here. So today I got for you guys a deck profile. I decided to play at locals this past weekend. As you can see in front of you, it's Orchust Machina. I'm going to show you guys this deck profile pretty quick, and then I should have some replays plus a second build with a couple card changes in case you can't get certain cards in this build. And yeah, I'm going to quit with the BSing and show you guys my updated Orchust Machina deck. Alright, to start out, things that never kind of change. You still play 3 of your Stratos and 1 of this guy because his level manipulation can help get you random outs to stuff. Obviously the best card, and the one that for some reason they don't want to make a foil copy of, 3 Brutal Dozer. Basically, he's just your best first turn play, but he locks you into Orchust Machines. The 1 of Pot of Avarice guy and the 2 Monster Reborns. Fantastic cards. This is about the best ratio of Infinitrack cards specifically that I've played. Sometimes longer, grindier games makes me want to play more of this guy, but not enough to actually do it. Next off, for the Machina package, of course you play the 3 Metal Cruncher. This is your second starter, and yeah, there's a lot of neat tricks you can do, especially with the Machina trap that you'll see later. So yeah, this card's super good. The 1 of Fortress, this card somehow after all these years is absolutely great. Its effect is real dumb because it just procs whenever the hell you feel like. And for the off chance they ever target it with a card effect, you can look at their hand and proceed to discard a card, which is really cool. And of course you play the 1 of upgraded version of him. Again, absolutely fantastic card. Not really designed to be, very fair, because if your guys get destroyed either by battle or card effect, he specials himself from graveyard. And then from there, he's a quick effect Regeki, which I used a lot. So yeah, this card's great. All right. And for the rank 10 machines, you just play these 2. Searchable and could be searchable, but most of the time you just kind of have to hard draw him. And then the 1 of Brick, a little Roddy. Alright, for hand traps, just 1 of Nibiru and 1 Droll. I'm pretty sure you can expect why this is the case, but we'll get to that once we get to the spells. 2 Ash Blossoms and 2 Veilers. Alright, for spells, you play 6 Reinforcement of the Armies. This card is a little bit better because it can add the Machina trap card if you ditch a Machina. And this card can attach itself to Zeus. And you play the 2 copies of the Urgent Schedule. I'm kind of so-so on this card. It does nothing some games, and in other games it just wins you. Alright, the 1 of Called by the Grave. And then, of course, the newest card in the Big Daddy Kahuna, 3 Crossout Designators. So I wanted to test this card in this deck because it's a combo deck. That's also why you see the 1 of Drone Lockbird, because this card that hurts you probably the most out of any hand trap that's commonly played, plus the 1 of Nibiru. But what kind of ended up happening is I did not play too many meta decks that were main decking all the actual hand traps that people play. And the only time I resolved this, even playing 3 copies, I barely saw it when it mattered, was to stop 1 Ash Blossom. So I'm not 100% sure you need to build it, and there will be a build that doesn't have it after this one for the replay portion, but I'll get to that later. 2 Machina Overdrive, this is probably the best trap in the deck. And then 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. You do 2 of that, 2 Veiler, basically for cross-out related shenanigans. Alright, on the extra deck, 3 copies of the Link 1. 1 copy of the Ballista. And 1 copy of the Angle Knuckle. You will go through all these cards every game, first turn, guaranteed. I play this just because it's an Earth Machine, but I haven't made it at all in a long time. This is the most important of all the XYZs because it basically adds a guy from your deck to your hand. Also, it can dump, so you can do some really cool plays with the Monster Reborn guy. I just wanted to test this. It's literally not any scenario that just came up. This card, I made it a lot. It's a non-target send, so you can hit Avermax with it. Fun fact. Then the one of Earth Slicer and guy whose name I'm not going to begin to pronounce. There was one game I did make this just to randomly hit a card out of somebody's hand. But most of the time I would just rather make this because I'm locked into Earth Machines anyways. Then of course the best ones, your big CHOO-CHOO package. Nothing to really say. This is a good time card. This guy is usually what you make just because he has a huge defense and he can kind of detach the Derek Ray at any given time. And this guy's just OTK. And I mentioned him earlier. Of course, you can hard make this card if you have the right combination of cards in your hand. So why not? Also, if you don't lock yourself to the Earth Machines, you can just make them that way too, because you'll usually exceed summon something. Alright, for side deck, the extra Ash and the extra Drolls in case you are going second. Also for going second, every bit of back row hate humanly possible. This card was clutch because I got paired against Numeron, and yeah, it did its thing. If you're going first and you're not sure that the crossout and hand traps be the best options, I cited the Rivalry and the Skill Drain because you literally play all machines in your extra deck. So this does nothing to you. And this card is just pretty strong. And then lastly, the card that accidentally did something for me, 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. With Virtual World coming up, it might actually be a decent side deck tech. Just card to know. So yeah, that is my Earth Machine deck. Now, I'm going to pause this and we're going to go into Edo Pro real quick.
Okay, as you can see before you, the version of the deck I had been testing. If you can't get Crossout Designator for whatever reason, this is the other build I was originally playing. The biggest difference is you just play more of your combo pieces or use some extra hand traps, or you know, the third copy of Machina Overdrive. There's a lot of flexible room, and yeah, I think if you can't get Crossout, this is the other way I would play the deck. Now I'm going to show you guys some replays that I got and then sign this video out. Alright, this first game here is against Invoked with Shadal's. So they summon Alibaba and I Veiler it, and then of course, because they legally have to, they draw the invocation, then proceed to do Alibaba things, and then pass on that. So then I draw for turn, I lead off with that, gets exiled, then I go for the Metal Cruncher, they Veiler it. I'm like, well, this sucks. So then I go for the redeployment, get my 2 Machina monsters, get the Fortress, use the Fortress, they Alibaba, I proceed to Fortress pop, chain the big guy to get free big body, hit him for 28, 3,000, and then basically pass on that. In their top deck, they can't do anything. So I won that game, which is pretty cool. Okay, so this replay's in here, 1, because it's funny, and 2, because if you know my local area, you have a vendetta against these things. So yeah, I'm gonna just let this play out. I don't remember how or why Mekk-knights went first, but they did. So Mekk-knight does Mekk-knight things. I droll because I know it's good against the deck, so it passes over to my turn. I Ash the hell out of that card so they don't get purple Nightfall. And then I just proceed to go about my regular combo route. They imperm right here, which hurt a lot. So I end up just starting to do the other plays to build up. Use Roddy, get my little dudes back on the field, use my River Stormer, get my heavy freight train Derek Crane, use the angle knuckle, chain the Derek Crane. This is a big brain play, so I make Gustav Max, and then they surrender because the card is way too strong. Oh yeah, best card, let's go. So with this one I managed to actually get the full match. This next game is going to be probably a lot more of a blowout than game one. Start out with the Metal Cruncher, go for the plays, you know, normal Earth Machine stuff. Except I think in this case I didn't quite get a hand to get my big guy. I don't remember for sure. Kind of going through the motions, Roddy. Do that. Load my graveyard so I'm not actually shuffling in a whole bunch of monsters. Just the Machina dude. Don't draw hardly too many other extenders. Just pass on Angle Knuckle. So then their turn goes instant fusion. They drop that. I decide to rivalry here. They try to get their purple knife. I'm like, no, no, no. Then they use their pot and then proceed to learn that Earth Machine is way too strong. Let's go 2-0. So this game was wild because somehow I kinda sorta went against the mirror in a way. Now I go first and do some Machina things using the Metal Cruncher to build the advantage and what have you. You know, basic Earth Machine, make guy, search other guy. The only issue is you can clearly see I drew Roddy Rich. So I had to kind of alter my plays a bit, wherein I use Roddy to then, instead of going with the Ballista route, I instead kept Roddy in the graveyard because the bullet train puts Roddy in your hand, and then Roddy then searches something for next turn. So you got an extender of sorts. Now on their turn, they're doing Orchust Machina things, and for some reason, I detached, forgetting that that does absolutely nothing. So that was a real stupid play on my part. But it kind of ends up being decent because I got the big level 10 Machina guy in my graveyard, which you'll see him put in a lot of work in this. Ironically for both of us, but I just kind of wanted him there so I could keep building and punching through resources and what have you. So they're doing their thing, and I'm doing my thing to wipe their board. There's an ever-ending loop of extenders on both of our sides coming out. With, yeah, kind of a standstill right there because Dora is huge. But then Roddy putting in work because, you know, he's added to hand either deck or graveyard. You can do some cool stuff. So then turns back around to my turn. So at this point, I just start throwing bodies on board, doing plays, trying to think about how I can kind of build a board that plays through a whole bunch of stuff. And before I get locked into Earth Machines, I decide to use my little level 2 guy to then hard make a Zeus. And then from here, I start comboing off. I think right here, yeah, I put Roddy back in my deck because I can make the Ballista, and then I use the Link 1 to put right under Zeus, which ended up being a really good play because both me and my opponent forgot that that protects the Zeus from being destroyed. So my Zeus just kind of lived. And right here I may have activated that called by just so I could quit seeing the damn notification. But I ultimately ended up cleaning up here because this guy is the man. He just wiped through the whole opponent's board. So yeah, this game was wild. So there you go. Earth Machine. 2 builds, one with, one without cross-out designator, and a host of replays to laugh at. Some final notes. This deck is really, really fun to play, and it kind of requires that you know how to play through a bunch of stuff, as well as just kind of being prepared to have either really lengthy or really short games with it. I think everybody should give it a shot if you want something fun. Metal Cruncher here just got reprinted, as well as Heavy Forward, so the deck's a little more available now. And yeah, this is Meh, Pig and Meh, signing out.